Hello, my name is Benjamin Piper, also goes by Golden Bacon. I'm here today with my eighth grade history teacher, also the guy that got me into finance in the first place, Jim Efting, or Mr. Efting, I would call him. Yeah, Mr. Efting, how are you today?
Good. And also, Ben, you can call me Jim though. Okay.
No,
Uh,
no, I
we're
can't.
we're past that. So you're good. Everybody else calls me Mr. Epting, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
let you call me Jim for today. All right. So
All right, just for one day.
there you go.
Um, did you hear? I just heard that Regis is shutting down.
Well, they're not gonna shut down. I mean, they're gonna move from their building that's right now they're what they're currently in, but they're gonna combine with LaSalle into one middle school
Okay.
over off Edgewood Road here probably in about 2 years. So you have LaSalle and Regis all moving under one roof, which is about time. So
Yeah. And that place was has a lot of memories.
it does have a lot of memories. I'm sure you have a lot of great memories in
Oh
that
yeah.
eighth grade history class of mine, right?
There is
Um,
some stories I could tell.
there you go. I totally understand.
Yeah. So for my first question, going back to finance, what made you get in the stock market in the first place? What made you want to invest?
I just saw it that, this is, I'm at the age now, well, I started probably about 15, 20 years ago, but I was not doing a whole lot. I've done a lot more lately, but it's just so interesting how the whole market um, moves each day. And I just love learning about, the market and stocks and investing every day. I try to get my hands on anything I can read or listen to help me out with investing. But I just love listening and learning about that on day to day. And um, if you're smart, you try to make some money. I don't day trade. I think that's a little bit too risky, but um, I'm more in for the long haul.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Because I was way younger, starting off, I had less to go with, but the strategy for me since I was younger at the time was kind of just test the waters. So you don't have to just buy blue chips. You can buy a couple other stocks, but I also did do day trading, and there was some good days, and then there were some really bad days, and then we stopped. And so, I always call day trading. Yes, you can predict it, but like I think sports betting is more predictable than actual day trading because anything could happen. You can have the best earnings report of your lifetime, and yet the stock will go down because investors just doesn't trust it or something like that. It's just wild, man.
You bet. It's like I've read about people losing 10,000 in a day and gaining 10,000 in a day. But who's got the money to be able to do that? If you listen to all the people who've made a lot of money in the past 20, 30, 40 years, they say, if you're in your 20s, buy low cost index funds and
Mm.
just put in, what you can each month. And, you're not going to hit home runs, but you're hitting singles, so to speak, in baseball
Mm.
analogy here. But you're going to be worth a lot of money by the time you're in your 50s. It's not exciting, but
No.
it's a great way to make money on the side and just let it grow through compound interest, and that's
Yeah.
what most young people don't understand is that time is on your side if you're young, and that compound interest is huge. Um, so I wish my own kids would jump in on that and start investing a little bit more too.
Yeah. Now I'm gosh, I put in more money than I should. Because sometimes I get opportunities that are just absolutely insane. Like in June, you probably saw it. The market had pretty much a flash crash where on the same day, the Japanese yen fell, all the airports completely got totally delayed because of a chip malfunction on Microsoft's side, and on the same day Joe Biden dropped out. Investors were panicking, and I saw the market just drop by 7 to 10% on the Dow and S&P 500, and I'm like, well, I got some money on my sideline. I'm gonna push that right in, and sure enough, it came bouncing right back. Mostly blue chips and stuff like that. But I usually do, gosh, for the last 3 years, I've done an average of $500 a month and have gotten, well, I did some day trading, which kind of set me back, but I've profited around 6 grand in 3 years,
That's
somewhere
good.
around there. Yeah. Yeah, it's
You
a
know,
good
you got a
start.
set amount each month, and going back to something you just said about, buying when times are turbulent. Warren Buffett said, buy when people are scared and the market's down. Um, don't buy when it's up. And if you watch what he did last week, he had what, I don't know, 500 billion or something sitting on the sidelines, and people were
Yeah.
wondering what he was going to do with all that cash. And then, sure enough, he pounced on three stocks here last week.
Mm,
Cirrus was one of them, and both those, all three of those stocks shot back up. But he put millions in each one of those, and he just waited till the right time, and the stocks were low. And that guy doesn't buy anything without with 100 people evaluating everything that he does. So
hmm
um, he there's a reason he's the smartest investor of all time.
Yeah, for sure. And unfortunately, well, it's so funny because I remember when I was in your class, I believe, gosh, 2018. Gosh, it was a little whiles ago. But you're saying like, okay, like every 20 years there's like a big crash. And of course, I'm like, okay, but I don't think I'll see that many crashes in my lifetime. 2 years later, COVID happened.
Yeah, I know.
So I was just like, damn it. I
And
didn't have a lot of money at the time, but if I did, if I had the cash I had now, man, I'd have made some good money on that.
where they say that there's seven out of every 25 years, there's seven years where historically um, it's
hmm
the market is gone below 10% in the year. So
hmm
you guys that are young, you guys are gonna have to live through that. Never, not every year is going to be a great year. And
Yeah.
problem is, the roller coaster will always go back up. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like I'm only 21 and that is very young and I basically have seen like two flash crashes, one here in 24, a major crash in 2020, and there was a flash crash in the summer of 2018 where I think it was the top 100 tech index funds were completely in the red by 7 to 10%, but for a very short amount of time. I think it was just a major sell-off at the time. I think investors were just selling off. And then
yeah.
people just sometimes that just happens. Sometimes there's no reason. They just want to sell off. And I'm like, okay. Like if you want to sell off, I'll buy in.
And who would have thought, just because of Trump winning the presidency, stocks up that. I mean, yeah, the market has gone, up
Bananas, absolute bananas.
crazy just with him being elected. Now the market last couple of days has taken a downturn,
hmm
uh, and not sure what that was, but I looked at my spreadsheet today.
mm
All my ETFs, mutual funds, stocks, and everything took a hit on Friday. But
Yeah.
Monday, new day, it'll go back up.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure of it. Well, so there was two in our giant rally, the Christmas rally, really, the Santa rally. It like I remember, gosh, it was like in the 19 days, Apple went from like 220 to 257, like just within a couple of days. Like every day it was just up, 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 up. And there was two times where it went back down. It corrected itself. When Jerome Powell said he wasn't going to cut interest rates as fast as people expected him to and got angry. But again, the next day it went back up. And what you were talking about Friday was because it was the day after Christmas, which is the official day of the Santa rally being over, which
Uh,
makes sense,
which,
the day after
uh,
Christmas.
yeah, well, I'm glad you said that, because now I know.
Yeah, so now, yeah, that's my theory anyways. Of course, it's just speculation because Santa rallies have gone after because there's also New Year's, so people do a lot of spending on New Year's as well. So we'll see if it bounces right back up. Even if it corrects itself, I'm all good, dude. Like I put in my cash way before this whole rally thing happened because when I heard that Trump actually won, I'm like, okay, time to buy everything. Time to But I bought like VGT, QQQ, Apple. Those are my go-tos. Just two of them are mutual funds. Apple is just Apple. But one thing I will say, and one thing I will mention, especially you, is that I'm very like bullish for Microsoft because out of all the companies that have recovered from that crash in July, Microsoft has not gone over from its peak from the last time it had that crash. It never went back to that peak. So it's still recovering. Unlike Apple, unlike Intel, they've all recovered except for Microsoft. So I believe sometime in 2025, early or middle, we're going to see a really, really good rally for Microsoft soon.
You know, I'm glad you said that because I read a huge article yesterday. I can't remember what day of paper it was in, but the article was interviewing, I think his last name was Ballmer. Steve Ballmer
Hmm.
was the second in command to Bill Gates for 12 years from 2000 to 2012 or something of Microsoft. And he's worth 150 billion and
Jeez
most of
Louise.
his money is in Microsoft stock. He's
Hmm.
they talked to him about investing and they said, why do you only basically have one stock in your most of your money? He goes, well, look at the price, look at what's done for me. He goes,
Yeah.
I'm going to be one of the smartest people ever. He goes, I do invest. He goes, if I was young, he goes, I'd tell my kids to buy low cost index funds right now.
Hmm.
Um, but he says he thinks Microsoft is still a great bet, even today, even for the future, because of all the things they're going to be doing in the next few years. So
Yeah.
uh, it's a great article. I can't remember what paper it was in, but it basically asked him about his investing advice and getting in on Microsoft. So great article to read if you're interested in Microsoft stock.
Oh yeah, I've been buying up, not a whole lot, but definitely some of it for sure. And so I'm very bullish with the new year coming around. I mean, it really hasn't jumped up from its AI stuff yet. It still hasn't really recovered from that downfall. I think eventually investors are going to be like, okay, Microsoft is on the cheap. The same way with Apple. I remember it took Apple a whole like 2 years to recover from 2021 to 2023. Like it never went past its peak like for years. And I was just buying as much as I could at the time. I was making jokes about it on my Instagram page. You can find them all the way down. If you scroll all the way down, you can see me joking about buying at 170. Well, look at it now. It's at
I,
255.
I don't know. You know what Microsoft is right now per share?
Here, let me do a quick. I just got it up here real quick. So Microsoft's at 430 right now, but its peak was 453 in June and never recovered.
Wow.
It and it does 30% a year. It does, it's a good stock, it's reliable, it's in a lot of
Oh,
index funds for sure. And people are making theories about it because Microsoft does own Xbox, which is a gaming part of it, but like it it barely makes a dent. Like compare that with Sony and PlayStation, it barely makes a dent. It doesn't matter if they own it or not. They bring in revenue like crazy because of just how much influence they have on the business world and just businesses in general.
and
So,
they're going to be so heavily involved in AI coming up too.
yeah,
So they're going to be making
100%.
money. So,
Everyone's getting into AI, and that's kind of the new golden word for investors. I mean, look what happened to Nvidia. I mean, it was just AI, AI, AI in every news briefing, and sure enough, it skyrocketed. So, yeah. So I know moving back on questions and stuff like that, I know you're in the real estate business and have been for a pretty long time. Um, what are your thoughts on the real estate industry right now?
well, actually, so I've only been doing this for a year, or probably 2 years.
Okay.
Um, when I retired from teaching, I went and got my real estate license, and
Hmm.
we are the Efting team, the spouses that sell
There
houses,
you
with my wife Liz. She does 99.9% of the work, though,
go. Okay.
and she does a great job. She's busy every single day
I'm
of the
sure.
week. She's doing really, really well. Um, and the market has really never taken a downturn for her. We just know so many people in the community are so connected that um, people have a lot of we have a lot of people calling us to sell their houses, to look for houses, and so
Mm,
forth. So things are really, really good. Interest rates are staying right around 5% now.
yeah.
I think it's a great time to buy because looking at the paper yesterday, they said interest rates by the end of 2025 are going to be up to 6% probably.
Mm,
So if people are intending to buy, um, this is a good time to buy from now through probably the middle of the summertime. So
mm.
no, things are going really well. So
That's
couldn't
good.
be happy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, my generation, obviously our biggest struggle ever is just like simply buying a house, just simply buying a house. And there's a lot of people I talk to every single day where they can't afford a house, they can't afford food, they can't even afford a car, they can't afford anything really. So, not just investors, but also real estate agents. I was wondering, hopefully in the near future, we're lowering interest rates. I know investors are pressuring Jerome Powell right now to lower investments rates. I'm sure he's getting a million newsletters as we speak to lower interest rates, but obviously he can't. Not yet,
yeah,
anyways.
yeah, I don't think you're going to see much lower than 5 or 6% um,
Okay.
uh, for a long, long time. But in the grand scheme of things, when we first bought our house, 30 years ago, uh, interest rates I think were 9.5% or something like that.
Mm,
So, gosh, right now is great. When people think that you have to have the 5 or 10% down to buy a house. You don't need to. Um, you don't need that. There are so many good programs out there with so many lenders. We have banks here in town with first-time buyers that can give you a great deal on owning a home. But real estate is probably the best investment you can make
mm,
because prices are never going to go down with most condos and most houses. So I would tell my own kids if they were here today, start thinking about buying a house. What city you want to be in. Eventually, and you're going to stay there. Buy a condo, buy a home, something to get that real estate investment going because you're always going to make money on it.
yeah,
Throwing away money every month on rent, you're just paying somebody else's house payment,
yeah,
and you're living in some place you're paying rent at for years. You don't have a whole lot to show for it. You
yeah,
sort of move. I know some people can't afford to buy a house, pay groceries and so forth like that, but it's a great investment if you can help. Somebody can help get you going.
yeah, for sure. I think you have your thumb in your camera. So, no, you're good. All right. But yeah, so yeah, it is quite difficult, but I am optimistic for the future because of policies and obviously I don't know if you follow Dave Ramsey, the great financial advisor. He always says the same thing. It's like no politician is gonna make you a millionaire. It's gonna be up to you. It depends how much you work, how much you save. Like for me personally, I cut corners everywhere I go. I mean, gosh, look at my college career. I went to Kirkwood for 2 years and then went to went to Iowa. And I always encourage people to do that because it's so easy and it saves you so much money. And then the other thing, I still drive 41 minutes from home to Iowa every single day because I know living on campus or even having a home would be so much more expensive than just driving 41 minutes. Yeah, it sucks, sure, but by the end of the day, you save thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. It's ridiculous. But and then you could use that money to invest and make even more money. So
There you go.
yeah. So I'm more of an investment guy, but one thing I have heard and have thought about for a long time is real estate. Investing in real estate is always successful by the end of the day. It's a lot of work, obviously, but the property value has always gone up for the end of time.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people, a lot of realtors at Skogman who've been there a long time have taken the extra money and um, purchased, second, third, fourth home they rent out, for Airbnb.
Yep.
They purchase apartment complexes. They flip homes and so
Hmm.
forth. So, uh, these are smart people that have made a lot of money, um, just being really wise with their investments. So, yeah, you bet. Real estate's a huge investment, can make you a lot of money.
Yeah. My grandma, who has done everything almost underneath the sun, she is still an interior decorator. And she anytime they would move into a new house or a new condo, they would renovate the floor, they would redo the cupboards, they would do just all these like little things, and that would just raise the property value like crazy just by putting a 20K down to redo the floors, and then that would raise the property value by 80. So real estate's a good investment for sure. But
Absolutely.
yeah, getting back on track, I am curious, have you ever tapped into cryptocurrency?
Uh, no, I have not. And the only reason I haven't, one of my JA instructors, probably about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, when crypto was just coming, in the news,
Mhm.
and he's an accountant here in Cedar Rapids, and I asked him about it, and he said, he goes, I have so many people that are in crypto, and they've made some money, but they've also lost so much money. And he goes, that is a headache to figure out at the end of the year, as far as accounting goes, as far as taxes go.
Oh
He
gosh.
goes, he goes, if I can't understand it, he goes, I would invest in it. And
Hmm.
I get that. That's the old Warren Buffett talking. If he doesn't understand it, he won't buy it.
It's fair.
Um, but I know a lot of people have made millions of dollars, buying Bitcoin years ago and just holding on to it too.
Hmm.
But a lot of people sold it when they didn't think it was going to make any money, and they're probably wishing now they would have held it. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. You have a lot of very smart, very wealthy people getting into it, the last few months because Trump is a, cryptocurrency president. He's for regulation of
Hmm.
crypto. And so I think a lot of people are jumping on board. Where it's ever going to go, I don't know. I,
I
I,
don't know either, dude.
I bought a couple ETFs with Bitcoin in it, but that's as
Okay.
far as I've gotten. That's as far as I'm, you know, my confidence level is buy a
Yeah.
couple ETFs with Bitcoin and put a little bit of money in that, but I haven't put a whole lot. Just sort of see where it goes.
Yeah. I I had a very good history with crypto, just because I got lucky. It was like nothing with research. It was all experimental because, I was young at the time, and they tell you like, hey, just experiment with new things. And so me and a coworker decided to put $100 each into this this cryptocurrency, Shiba Inu. Literally 3 days later, Elon Musk posted a picture on Twitter at the time, two dogs of his that were Shiba Inus in his Tesla, and it skyrocketed to the moon. Like I had no idea why. Basically made 6 grand off of that, and then I moved it over to Ethereum, and then that's when that crashed. And then when it recovered, I just took it out. So I never made any money off of Ethereum, but I made a lot off of just blind luck. So I don't understand it either. I have $300 in Ethereum. Ethereum is basically Bitcoin's brother. It's like side by side. I kind
Oh,
of
okay.
compare it to the Dow versus the S&P 500.
Okay.
Like Bitcoin's the Dow and the S&P 500 is Ethereum. That's how I describe it anyways.
Got
But
it.
um do I understand it? No. Do I touch it anymore? Nope. But is it interesting to see? Yeah. I have no idea where Bitcoin goes from here. I mean, I wish everyone the best of luck, but that's about it.
Yeah. I think I was reading an article once I can't remember what year Bitcoin first came out when you could buy it.
Mm,
And I know it was really, really, really cheap. And you
hmm.
think, man, if I would have bought, you know, 1,000 Bitcoin back then when it was like a buck or two a
Yeah.
coin, and it's now what 104,000 a
100,000, yeah.
coin. That is absolutely crazy. But
Well,
you
I
never
don't know
know.
if you know the story of Bitcoin though, of how it all started.
No, I
So
don't.
what it was actually, a currency on a black market site called the Silk Road. So it was extremely illegal for years and years and years. So it was worth literally worth like a penny. It was like nothing. So basically, the people that have the most cryptocurrencies were basically drug dealers, gun sellers, pretty much everything that's illegal. So if someone's holding on to like hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, it's pretty much a guarantee they've held it on through the black market, called the Silk Road. The
Okay.
FBI cracked down on it a long time ago, but when it became public was I think believe 2012, and at the time it was trading for $7 a piece.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Interesting
just
backstory.
crazy. It's one of those stories. It's like buying Apple in 1976 or something. Yeah, when it was barely even a
Yeah.
or even Tesla. I mean, Tesla before that blew up. Nvidia, same deal. Even AMD. Now, speaking of well-performing stocks, what has been your best performing stock you have ever bought into?
Okay. It's a stock that I saw that I wait for some of these stocks to like Shopify was probably my most probably the best stock I purchased last couple of years when it split
Hmm.
last year. I really didn't know a lot about Shopify. There was a Canadian company that had something to do with paying your bills or buying online. Didn't know a whole lot about it, but from what I heard, it was a good company and it had a lot of room to improve. So as soon as it split, I think it split 3-1, and it was like 120 or $130 a share, and I think I bought it at $33, and I bought a lot of it, and at $33. And last time I looked, it was $120 a share. It
Wow.
went back up, and Amazon. So the same thing. I did that with Amazon too. I mean,
Mhm.
I could have. I didn't have enough money to buy it at what it
Yeah.
was going for. I waited till it split and bought a lot of shares. And Amazon is way back up there again. Did really well. Probably with those two stocks are my best two investments so far, as far as how much money I've made in the shortest amount of time.
Hmm.
You know, so
Yeah, for me recently, I um about a year ago I bought into I think it was JBL, and then all of a sudden it was like this uh parts manufacturing, so it was like for computers and stuff like that. So
okay,
they were making computer chips and stuff. So it was pretty reliable. I had great records and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, right after I bought it, and I bought a decent chunk of it, um they announced that they are officially a partnering with Apple. So they're making their computer chips now in their phones. So all the phones, they basically got a contract for 3 or 4 years where they were making all the parts for them and the speakers and everything else. And that just shot it up. It was like a $30 stock, and then it went to 90, and then it went to 150, and then there was some shady deals, and then it dropped back down to 120, and I just sold it all at 120 because I made a decent chunk of money then. And then so that's what kind of got me out of the 2021 recession. Kind of, I mean, technically it wasn't a recession, but damn, did it feel like it. But so we basically so yeah, it was just JBL. But long term for me
okay,
was actually my first stock I ever bought, which was VGT. It was a mutual fund. But
oh
I
good,
bought that at like 137. I bought 12 shares. It's sitting at 678.
get out of here.
No, it's that good. It's done 30% every single year.
What is it again?
VGT. Yeah.
VDT.
VGT.
Oh, BGT.
Yeah, it's a simple all it is just a simple index fund, a technology index fund from Vanguard. That's it. And
Wow,
in 2018, it was trading at 138. It was brand new. And now it's sitting at like 600.
good for you, man.
Yeah, I just keep buying into that. So that's my old reliable because it's already diversified and stuff like
Good
that.
good deal.
So now I'm
Good.
gonna reverse the question. What's your worst performing stock?
Uh, a company called Zynex, Zynex.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
it's a medical device company. I'm not going to say who told me to buy it, um, but because I don't want to go on record of that person telling me. But I gotta, and one of the things you learn in investment is that don't run with hot tips of a friend.
Yep.
Okay, and they gave me this hot tip that this stock was purchased it. I got in too late. This person bought it at 12.13 and it
Hmm.
went to 27. They go, oh man, you got to buy this. It's a medical device company, and you should buy some. So sure enough, I bought probably a couple hundred shares at $27, and it's now in the like $8 range. Um, and it was
Yeah.
below that before. It was like down to $4 or $5, and it's went back up to 8. But lesson learned,
Yeah.
that you're not always going to make money, but you got to be smart about jumping on the bandwagon when someone tells you to get a hot pick, you know, especially from somebody who um, is not a student investor.
Yeah, exactly.
No, now that I think about it, my other dumbest one was um, I was in sitting in the JA class, and we had a different instructor, not the gentleman you had, but a
Okay.
different instructor, and he's a stockbroker here in Cedar Rapids. And,
Hmm.
we were doing that game that we played, with the
Yeah.
investor,
The junior achievement.
yeah,
Yeah.
junior team, where you get to pick one stock. And
Mm.
he started talking about a company called Rivian, um, this electric motor truck
Yep.
that, oh, it's going to be the next Tesla, and
I
he's
didn't
going
know
to even
about
buy
that.
some. So uh, the IPO, and that was right around $100 or so,
Goodness
and I
gracious.
jumped on it for not a whole lot, but it was a
Yeah.
sort of a big chunk, and man, it's down to about what, 17 or $20 now.
Hmm.
So probably lost
Yep.
$80 a share. And I thought, if this broker is teaching the class,
He
he's smart.
sucks.
So even the stockbrokers, it goes to show you,
Yeah.
they're not always right all the
No.
time.
You
So you
know,
got to do your research and maybe hold off. So that's the last time I've ever purchased something that quick that's hot in the market. I'm going to
yeah.
wait from now on. So no
Yeah.
more of this jumping quick,
Gosh.
waiting.
Yeah, I have way too many stories. So, first one was actually when I was in high school, freshman year, Rocket Labs. It was a New Zealand company. They're basically SpaceX. They're the most ahead of the schedule to compete with SpaceX, anyways. And I love SpaceX. I still do. But they opened up their IPO was 10. I think it was it $10 share? Yeah, it was $10 a share. And it jumped up to 20. And I told my dad because I didn't have control of the account. So I had to call my dad because only he could do it at work. And I told him to sell it. I would have made a 100% return. And I told him to sell all of our shares. And he was like, "Oh, well, it's gonna keep going." And then he convinced me out of it, basically. And sure enough, it dropped all the way down to $4 a share and I ended
Wow.
up selling it at 6. But the other one that was, oh gosh, terrible. I didn't lose a lot of money on this one because I got out somewhat early. I did lose some, but not a lot. Was Neo. It was exactly like Rivian. It was a Chinese company that was making all electric cars that was going to be the next Tesla. It was not the next Tesla. And that was the last time I ever bought a Chinese stock. Um, But yeah, I've had my fair share of downfalls, but the second I started actually just buying the blue chips, buying Apple, buying VGT, VOO, VTI, QQQ is another good one. Just buying all those basic reliable mutual funds that make 20 to 30% a year. My account just went through the roof basically ever since.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job. I got
Yeah.
about two more minutes there, Ben. Then I
Okay,
gotta
so I'll finish it up for you. Before you go, my final question for you is, where do you see the market in 5 to 10 years?
the the financial market.
Yeah, the whole market overall. Where do you see it
Uh,
5 to 10 years from now?
uh, I I I read too much, and the New York Times last Sunday's uh, reporter,
Hmm.
um, business reporter, his prediction, and he's not a predictor. He goes, I just don't predict. He goes, but based on if you ask me a question, he goes, I would be cautious of your money. Um, he said buy index funds, and
Yeah.
he goes, that's what I'm telling my kids. Um, he goes, I just don't see the market doing great things for the next 5 years. So,
Hmm.
um, you know, that's what I'm going to be doing. So hopefully
All
I'm
right.
live long enough to see some of my money, right?
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you
Hey,
will.
I want to leave
All right.
leave this with one last Ben story.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously, thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
But
Thanks for coming.
my best memory of you is I got to give kudos to you, man, because you're the only person in the eighth grade class ever that got Miss Broghammer to dance the chicken dance at
Oh,
that prayer rally we were having over at
yep.
All Saints that day. And I looked out in the courtyard, and Miss Broghammer was doing the chicken dance and singing along with you guys. And I said, "How did they get? Who got her to dance and sing? Because usually, she doesn't smile all year. Um, and here she is. They go, oh, Ben got her to do it.
All
So
right.
props to you, young man,
Thank you.
for getting her
Thank you.
going.
It
She probably
was,
had that great memory of eighth grade. So
oh, absolutely. The
um,
famous chicken patty.
there you go.
All
You
right.
got
Well,
that
thank
guy.
you again for just talking to me just for a little bit.
Hey, no
See you
problem.
next year.
You
All
bet. Hey, thanks for having me on, buddy.
right.
Good
Thank you.
seeing you.